this is the wastewater treatment plant right here on 3040 Bailey Road. And we have 16 individuals that work either in the collection system on all of the underground infrastructure out there. As you see up in the city, you can actually see on this map over here, yeah. Those are all pipes underground that our team takes care of. So we have a group of 4 individuals on our collection system team that have a back truck and a TV truck. So if residents ever see that giant big red truck or big blue truck, there's actually 2 back trucks in town that the city owns, and then our big camera truck. It looks like a cube van. They're actually, if it's the cube truck, they're actually running a camera through these pipes, inspecting them and looking at them. If it's the big back truck, they're actually cleaning those lines. They're jetting and backing those lines, making sure everything's clean and clear. And then we also have 10 lift stations throughout the city. So those are spots where if water can't flow by gravity down to the treatment plant, so we're right here. Almost all of these underground pipes flow by gravity by design right down to here. So it's at the least cost to our residents to transfer that water down here. But there are spots where the elevations aren't right, where we do have to have some lift stations. And what those are pumps where water will flow from like a certain area, and then we can pump it to a spot where gravity can flow it all the way down to the treatment plant.
Very cool.
But we've got a group of 4 guys that are typically always out there, and then we have 2 individuals that, one really focuses on GIS, so Geographic Information System, and this is pretty important. It's letting our guys know exactly what pipes are underground, where they're at, so it's kind of an asset management piece, but also we use GIS for our maintenance work and everything. So they really document where they've cleaned, where they've inspected, things like that. And then we also have a utility locator on our team. So diggers hotline tickets, if someone calls in the city and they have to do a dig, or if there's construction, the dig needs to take place, we have a locator that'll go there and make sure our infrastructure is marked properly. So if someone's digging, they know exactly where that's located. And that even ties into GIS, knowing depth and location. So that's why those 2 really tie into our department.
Nice.
And then once all that water flows down to the treatment plant, then we actually have the treatment. And one thing that residents and most people that go on a tour that are surprised by is treatment here is basically biological. So it's all tiny bacteria, microscopic bacteria that do the work here.
And is that naturally occurring bacteria, or is that bacteria that you add to the?
It's naturally occurring, but what we do is we create the right environments to really enhance the growth of those particular bacteria strains, or that particular bacteria. And where that really is important is this is our aeration basins. This is where the bulk of the aerobic bacteria live, and this is where the bulk of the treatment takes place. But we also have a tankage off to the side, a selector zone, and that's where we create environments in that particular case where we're using biological bacteria to biologically remove phosphorus. So we have pretty strict limits here, and phosphorus is one of those very strict limits. And we focus quite a bit of effort on biologically removing phosphorus, and where that's important is we create the right environment for those bacteria. We also, in this major aeration zone, we remove nitrogen, ammonia nitrogen, and that's another set of bacteria, and they require different parameters. And in combination, we actually have to we'll convert ammonia to nitrite, and then we have to release that bound oxygen, that nitrite for the BIOP, or the biological phosphorus removal organisms, to work correctly. So it's kind of all has to happen together. But it's that is the bulk of treatment. That's the bulk of it. So if a drop of water comes in a day, like I said earlier, there's 4 million gallons. In 24 hours, that goes through this facility.
4 million gallons.
4 million gallons.
That's pretty cool.
That's the liquid portion, but there's another piece of wastewater. There's actually 3 end products. It's clean water that we discharge. It's biogas that we produce in our anaerobic digesters, and then we produce biosolids. So I'll talk a little bit about that other piece, and that's anaerobic digestion. So after aerobic treatment, we use that biomass. We have to keep a certain amount on hand. So it's a certain biomass population to do that treatment. If we have too little, we don't get the correct treatment, or if we have too much, we have poor treatment. So we have to keep it just right. And that changes throughout the season. And what impacts that is water temperature. So throughout the year, that water temperature plummets during the winter time, and then during the summertime, it definitely comes back up. So in the wintertime, we have to increase our biomass because they're just like us. They slow down if it's really cold. The reactions are slower. So where that all comes into play is we have to keep that right biomass, whether it's winter or summer, and we waste a certain amount of that biomass to our anaerobic digesters. We also, of all the flow that comes down here, we have an upfront treatment step. It's called primary clarification. And any solids that settle, we pump those also to anaerobic digestion. So in an anaerobic digester, and you'll actually see this at some of the large farms in the state here, big anaerobic digesters. We're using anaerobic bacteria to break down any solids or anything in there, and then to also stabilize those solids. And in the process, we're producing biogas, which is methane. We burn that biogas in the wintertime to heat most of these buildings. After anaerobic digestion, though, that's where we find that third end product, and that's biosolids. So after anaerobic digestion, that's kind of our final treatment and stabilization step. We actually take those solids and we add a little bit of polymer and we press the water out. So we make a solid. It's a semi-solid. It's about 15% solids, and that's our biosolids. And those go in this huge building here.
And that's the one that's getting pretty full right now, that building.
Yes. So and that probably is a good transition right into our current upgrade right now. Is that piece right there needs to be addressed. And where I'm going with that is with city growth and the way the city has grown, the city's done a very good job of upgrading and keeping the liquids side of the treatment train upgraded and up to date. So we did an upgrade here in the city in 2020, and that was on the liquid side. These big tankage, that's to handle any of that increased flow from the city as it grows. And we also, in that last upgrade, addressed super low level phosphorus. That was a pretty big deal to get down to our permit limit. It's a very strict limit. But what was not done in that last upgrade was the solids piece. And there was a reason for that. And that is because adding on this new low level phosphorus treatment train, we actually had to start adding a chemical to get to these ultra low limits. When you start adding a chemical, then you start impacting your biomass and your solids. In several facilities, it's all different how it impacts those facilities. Typically, it's 10 to 25% more solids production by adding what we add is a polymer and a metal salt, which is ferric sulfate. So we basically go through all this effort, biologically remove as much as we can of that phosphorus. There's then a little bit more of phosphorus left over, and we have to get down to this ultra low limit. It's one of the strictest in the state. And to get to that stage, we do have to add a little bit of polymer and a little bit of that metal salt. And what we do is we take soluble phosphorus and convert it to insoluble phosphorus, make a little precipitate, and then we filter that out. And when we filter that out, we have to backwash those solids back into our system, and those end up into our anaerobic digester, which ends up into our biosolids. So we didn't want to address that solids piece until we found out exactly how this liquid piece would be impacted and impact our solids production. So we waited till after about 2 years, then went into planning to how to address our solids. One thing that the community might not know is the original plant was built in 1982. There was an upgrade in 2005. And in that 2005 upgrade, they converted from rotating biological contactors to activated sludge. But most importantly, what they did is they sized everything for 20 years on the liquid side, but on that solid side, they actually designed it more for a 10-year design period, not knowing how the city would grow back in 2005, just not knowing. So we've actually been over capacity on our solids for several years now.
Okay.
So that's a couple reasons for this upgrade now is we wanted to wait to see how the impact of that low level phosphorus treatment. We needed to address capacity as the city grew. We were basically designed to 2015 that year. We are currently 2025 here, so we're about 10 years over actually, and we've been over capacity for quite some time on our solid storage. During this whole time, we've gone through a lot of studies and efforts, looked at a lot of different steps and treatment processes and things to do, how to handle these biosolids. What's happening is during the past 20 years, a lot of the agricultural practices have changed. And I'm bringing that up is because our biosolids end up going on farm fields, typically the spring and fall. With ag practices changing, and what has changed is a lot of farmers, instead of plowing their fields or chisel plowing, they're no-till, minimum till, or strip till, and that just does not match up with our current biosolids because our biosolids are a Class B biosolids. And what that means is we need DNR approved field sites for these Class B biosolids, and then we need to apply them typically spring and fall.
Yeah.
And what happens is when you apply a Class B, you typically need it to be incorporated, which doesn't fit with no-till, minimum till, strip till. So that was a piece we've been dealing with is agricultural practices have changed. The other thing that has really changed over the past 20 years is farmers they've gone away from having too much traffic on their fields in the springtime. And where that comes from is they don't want the compaction on that wet soil in springtime. And what happens is that then says, most farmers say, we don't want your biosolids in spring. So ultimately what happens is you need to have a space big enough for these biosolids storage for about 365 days or 330 days approximately.
Yeah.
DNR requires 180 days, and we were even over capacity at 180 days. So what we're doing is addressing a pretty serious problem due to increased solids from our low-level phosphorus, dealing with agricultural practices that have changed. And then our goal with this new upgrade was to produce a Class A biosolid. And what that means is it goes to a higher level of treatment, but that then allows those solids to be land applied anywhere. Don't have to have the DNR approved sites. It's very difficult to get some of these DNR approved sites. The other thing Sun Prairie deals with is we are right next to Madison. Madison Met has the largest biosolids program in the state. So we happen to be right next to the largest biosolids program in the state, and they have a very good program, but they consume a lot of acreage with that program. So we also compete with them on those farm fields. So there's another piece to this as to why we're doing this upgrade. With this upgrade, we looked at a lot of different technologies, a lot of different things, and we really focused on how to be as energy efficient as possible. So this project is a really sustainable project. It's also a project that addresses a couple of spots in our current solids handling building, and we'll take a walk up there. Is we only had one gravity belt thickener, only one belt press, and those are both over 20 years old. They're well maintained. We have a great staff here that does maintenance, excellent maintenance at this facility, but it's just one of each, and those two pieces of equipment have to run every day. One has to run approximately 16 hours a day, and the other one has to run approximately 4 hours every day. Every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So every day, this new project that we'll see out there, it's addressing those single points of failure. If one of those goes down, we are in a serious bind. So what we're doing with this new project is we have redundancy. So we're building in some redundancy, sustainable, and efficiency into that, and we're also We're also dealing with this old way of how they designed this was pretty inefficient as to how after the biosolids are dewatered, they have to be put into a dump truck right now and then trucked over. So it's kind of, this new project also addresses a lot of these efficiencies and where that plays in is with this project, we do not intend on hiring any more people power. So the way our staff sits today is how it will sit for quite some time. So it's a huge structure and a huge project, and it's actually, here is a look at it. This is our new solids handling building. There will be 2 belt presses in there. There will also be 2 dewatering devices in there that dewater a little bit more than normal belt presses. There will be a new lab in this building. We've run out of space on our lab. And there's also a step in this building, the process to make a Class A biosolid. It's a time temperature. The DNR is allowing us to do a batch time temperature on those biosolids. It's basically almost like pasteurizing the biosolids to make them a Class A process, a Class A product as well. And then the next step after we dewater, we make the Class A, we dewater, then we go into this large building. It looks like a greenhouse. It's essentially a greenhouse with a stainless steel floor. It's a little bit of a better way to look at it. This is inside that greenhouse. There's a stainless steel floor, 2 trains, and in that stainless steel floor we will be running hot water that we're making with our biogas that we're naturally producing here. We will also be putting up a 1 acre of solar collectors, so we'll be using the sun to make hot water as well.
Nice.
So there'll be hot water flowing through the floor. We'll also use the sun's natural ability to bake down those biosolids. So when we go in on this end, we'll be at about 15% biosolids in the summertime and about 45% biosolids in the winter. By the time we get to the far end, we'll be at 90% solids. Those 90% solids then will go into a smaller building as part of this project, and we'll actually pelletize that Class A dry product. And pelletizing is kind of important because it makes a uniform product. The density is the same, so it's much better to broadcast on normal agricultural fertilizer spreader applications. We will also, in this building, most of the time, the material will be trucked away in bulk. It'll be going into big trailers, and then a farmer will pick up that material. We will definitely attempt to make that product a revenue generation source. So probably early on, we'll have to find the market, see what the market bears, see what kind of interest is in that product, and then from there we'll start to look at charging farmers or people if they want that product. It could even be a golf course, could be a landscaper, could even be several different things, a nursery that could want that product because it's a good fertilizer product. We will also be putting a small bagging station in that facility as well. So if residents want some of this to try on their lawns, it more than likely should go on lawns, and they could grab some of this material as well. Let's just use Madison Met, for example. They deal with a 5 to 6% liquid, like let's just say approximately 30 million gallons of liquid biosolids annually. Whereas we're making a dry product, a dry pellet, we're going to deal with probably 15 to 20 semi-loads of this product versus several hundred or several thousand semi-loads of this product if it's not as dry as this. So where I'm going with this is we're set up, the community is set up, if there ever is some contaminant, we're in the most economical way of dealing with that. If it's got to go to a landfill, if it's got to go, to a unique site, or if it even has to be burnt, it could be burnt.
Okay.
So this is definitely a forward-thinking project. It's definitely sustainable. As you can see, those are the solar collectors in the back, using the sun as much as we can. This facility is one of the most efficient run energy-wise. We definitely look at our energy every day, what kind of energy goes into cleaning the water. You can also see as you drove in, there was a 400 kW solar array that also helps offset our treatment costs here. But even without the solar array and without the solar collector, without using our biogas that we naturally produce here, we still run very, very efficient. We benchmark against other facilities in this country to make sure we are efficient as possible with the treatment steps we have. And we have some of the most advanced treatment steps at this facility as you would find in any large facility. So very comparable processes to Madison Met, which is right here. It's a state-of-the-art facility. We also have a state-of-the-art facility right here. Everything from primary treatment to fermentation to aerobic treatment, which is activated sludge with selector zones for biological phosphorus removal. These are our big final clarifiers. And we have tertiary filtration in this building, which is a disc filter, and that's part of our low-level phosphorus. We also have UV light disinfection. That's a final step we use in the summertime. And then we step aerate our final effluent after it's completely treated and send that out to the Koshkonong Creek. And I talked earlier about our solids handling. That's kind of a separate step. That's anaerobic digestion. Then we have thickening and dewatering and a cake product or an end product.
Yeah. With the methane that's produced, you said it's used around the buildings here. Do you ever have like a surplus of methane, or is it just not quite?
So we do. In the summertime, we end up flaring off quite a bit of methane.
Okay.
And with this project, so I'm glad you brought that up. That was another important piece for us to find a way to utilize that biogas better. So this Class A time temperature step, that will consume all of the methane we produce in the summer and winter time.
So we're not just wasting it.
We will no longer waste that biogas.
And the UV treatment you mentioned, that's during winter time. Is that because you get plenty of UV during the summer, or why?
So we actually use that ultraviolet light disinfection during the summertime, and the reason we use it in the summertime is that's when the DNR basically recognizes that people are in the water recreating during the summer months. So what we do is we run all water past ultraviolet light, and that inactivates any bacteria in that water. So that is why we use disinfection in the summertime. In the wintertime, we do not, because typically there's ice out there and people are not recreating in that water. So that's the difference.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, that's kind of at a high level. That's our treatment. This is what we call our supervisory control and data acquisition. It's our SCADA. Okay. And the reason this is important here at our facility is we staff this one shift every day. There's someone here every day, but it's only one shift. It's typically 6 to 2:30. That's typically when the bulk of the people are here. And the reason that's important and the reason why this is important is flow comes down here every second of every day, 24/7, 365. So there's always flow coming down here. This allows us to actually be at home and have any alarm sent right to our phones. So we always have someone on call. We always have individuals that will if there's ever an alarm, it'll trigger our dialer to dial our phone, let us know what that alarm is, and then we can respond. But if you see green, that means those items are running. If you ever saw red on this screen, that would be an alarm state, and we do not have anything in alarm state.
How often do you have something in an alarm state?
Logan, what would you say?
Probably a couple times a week. There's probably a couple call-ins after hours, either those stations or something here at the plant that guys come in and take care of.
Do you take turns at night? Who's got their phone on?
Yeah, so like it's a weekly rotation. So 6 guys here, so every 6 weeks, one guy's responsible for everything after hours.
Okay, all right. And how many staff are there total in the wastewater treatment?
So we have about 16 individuals total here.
It's pretty efficient group.
Yeah, there's about 6 that are kind of really focused on the collection system, the infrastructure out there, the pipes, and then the rest are here between our lab. We have a full-time lab that operates here. We've got 2 individuals always in that lab, and then our operators and our maintenance team.
So it's on site here. We're probably 10 folks between lab and operations and maintenance.
Yeah. And if someone wants to come work in wastewater treatment, what's like a typical path for someone? Like, if you don't mind, Logan, how did you get into wastewater?
I got into it just by being interested in the job posting I saw here. I think that's a great way, maybe reaching out. I know any of us here would love to have, I don't know, kids in high school out to come see what we do here, or anyone, that's wanting to find something to do with their career. It's definitely a great career here. There are some opportunities at I just got my associate's degree at some community colleges too. That's a great way to learn about it too. A little bit hands off, but you get to come out and do some tours in that program as well. But just trying to make contact with people at wastewater plants, I think, is a great start. Start with an email, maybe asking to come out for a tour. That'll open up some opportunities for maybe some summertime help or some internships. Hopefully, some paid internships. To come out and experience what it's like here. And a lot of the times, that can turn into a job. I think we're always looking to hire quality people if there's a job opening, and I know there's a lot of openings around the state that would love to have some great people out. So that's really it. Just try and get out there and get some face time with people around the plant. I know anyone here would love to give a tour to anyone anytime. I mean, I think everyone loves what they do here. So,
awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing.
And you with the school tours. I mean, you're familiar with that, being a science teacher, and some of the tours. And most of the time, high school kids, they'll walk into a treatment plant. It's just part of the tour, and they're like, you always get one or two that are
really interested,
very interested and curious. And that's kind of how I got interested as a high school senior. Went on a tour of a treatment plant. I've always loved biology. I love the outdoors. So I wanted a job where I could work and keep the environment clean. Still be outside doing. This is such a unique job where you're outside doing things. I mean, we're dealing with farmers with our biosolids land application. We're dealing with contractors out on projects. So it's kind of a mix. It's office and outside.
Nice.
You also have the lab, so you have some chemistry in there. There's actually quite a bit of engineering as well. So a lot of our projects, I mean, this is just some of the things we go through. This is just this project. I mean, you can see the amount of drawing sheets there, but most high schoolers, when they come for a walk, you get those couple that are very curious and interested. And I never would have thought I would have been in wastewater. I just never would have.
I never would have. I never even heard about it, really, honestly, in high school. And when I went to Sun Prairie here, they didn't have like tours for the high school kids. I don't know back then if I would have enjoyed it, but I think once you get past the idea of, it's what it is, and you get to come here, and it's a really fulfilling job. I mean, we're turning waste into really renewable resources, clean water. So, I mean, everything's getting used, and then we're returning it a lot better than it came in here. So, I mean, maintenance too. I know we have a lot of maintenance here. That's a really great part of it. Operations, more biological stuff. Lab, a lot of chemistry, tests, stuff like that. That's all going to apply elsewhere, really anywhere else. And I mean, water treatment's only going to get more hands-on as the future goes on. I mean, as we can see, these days there's always need for clean water. And, lack of it is really troublesome. So I think this industry is only going to get bigger as time goes on. So and get more wonderful to work in, I guess. So.
And Logan, you bring up something that our team here has been focused on moving forward. That is in the future another thing that we really want to see happen here is our clean effluent actually be reused somehow. If we can find a way to reuse that effluent and actually send that to like a non-contact cooling process for a business, where they need cooling water, that's a perfect source. And that could be even a source of revenue generation as well. But that's definitely a goal here of this team, is find a home or find a way. Our effluent is so clean, and when we go in the tour, you'll see that it's just to reuse that in some fashion, some way. But water is very scarce in most of the world. We just happen to be living in Wisconsin with two huge Great Lakes right next to us, and in a pretty big aquifer underneath of us.
Yeah.
But even with all that, we still need to start reusing this valuable water that we're discharging every day. A lot of areas in the world are reusing that effluent as much as they can, and we just need to start doing that too.
Yeah.
We'll find a way eventually.
And what is effluent?
So effluent, we call it effluent. That's just the kind of scientific term of our treated, cleaned water that we're discharging back to the environment. So
Okay.
that's effluent.
Okay. All right.
What we call what's coming in here is influent. So that's what we
Nice.
call it. Super quick. There's several different things on our SCADA we could look at. We can turn pumps on and off from right here. We can look at trends, what's going on throughout the plant, at our lift stations, anywhere. We can do several different things here on this screen. There's probably 30 to 40 different trends that our team looks at every day. We can tell if something's going wrong or if something's going how it should just by looking at some of these trends. We look at historical flows as well. So yesterday we saw 3 million gallons a day. That's one thing that sometimes people don't realize is in the wintertime, it's almost like the desert here. And where I'm going with that is the wintertime, the ground is frozen and we tend to not get any seepage of extra clear water into our system. So if anyone's ever heard of infiltration or inflow, that's I&I. That's kind of that unwanted clear water that comes into a sewer system during the summertime, rain event, things like that. In the wintertime, everything ground is frozen. And we tend to not get that I&I into the system, that inflow and infiltration. Yeah. So in the wintertime, we're usually around 3 million gallons, but in the summertime, we will push up to that 5 million gallon marks. But overall average, we're right around 4 million gallons a day.
Okay. All right.
We look at any chemical usage on here, our pump flows, things like that, our digester gas production, several different things we can look at on this SCADA system. We have down here our kind of our asset management for our maintenance team. This looks at every piece of equipment. We probably are pushing that $60 to $80 million worth of equipment here on site and throughout the city that we maintain. And our team takes really good care of preventative maintenance, making sure things are scheduled, maintenance activities are scheduled, greasing, oil changes, you name it, things like that. So that's a whole different program that gets worked on. We also have with our lab, we also have all of that data that's generated in our lab, and we'll go in there in just a second, gets punched into our Hawk WIMS, we call it. That's our software program. And then that we can transfer into the Wisconsin DNR website or their software. Every month we have a monthly report that needs to be sent off to DNR. This is a part of the way, but there are just thousands and thousands of data points. We use a lot of that data for process changes or how we run this operation, but also for permit required things. So we've got maintenance, lab, operations. So it's a very unique job where we even have an instrumentation and controls person on staff, meaning just dealing with all of the, whether it's potentially programming PLCs or dealing with some of the computer stuff, we're dealing with analyzers out in our aeration basin, just all of, transducers and our wet wells of our lift stations, just tons of things like that. So this job even entails quite a bit of computer knowledge and things like that. So it's kind of a unique job. It's kind of several different things that go into one job.
Very cool.
Kind of a unique thing.
Lots of things to learn.
But let's go check out the lab.
Well, this is the Sun Prairie Wastewater Lab.
Yeah.
And we are testing the water as it goes through the entire process, coming into the plant all the way down to the Koshkonong Creek. And we're looking for all the DNR regulated parameters. So we are looking for total suspended solids, biological oxygen demand. We have.
We got listed them. Okay.
Just to, so everybody is reminded, and every day we see that what's on the DNR permit. The different tests we do: ammonia, biological oxygen demand, pH, phosphorus, total suspended solids, and then we will do total solids and volatile solids on and off. And
nice. The right side is all the process control they run almost every day as well, just to keep that biology operating in the right zone. So we were operating efficiently, but you can see on the right side in the red, that's quite a bit of other sampling done every day just for our process checks.
Nice.
So we are busy all day long.
Yeah.
And then also with that, we analyze all the data and talk to Jeremy and the plant manager and everybody that needs to be involved with different information, maintenance crew, because the lab results will indicate what's going on in the plant.
Yeah.
And so we keep everybody up to speed. And also we've got great communication between our departments, internal departments.
Yeah.
And so constantly people are coming in and out to see what ranges are and ask questions. And so we're all really keyed in very well. And, down to looking at colors, consistencies, smells, because we all are used to and know what a certain process section should smell like or look like. And so it's a right away, if something's wrong.
Awesome. And I see a lot of equipment around here. So how do you analyze like how much ammonia or how much phosphorus or how much PFPs or different things are in the sample?
Sure. Actually, I've got a couple good ones right here. So we keep a running track. So we just have our little beaker full of filter pads. And so this is what total suspended solids looks like. It grabs, so you see there's some color. It grabs everything that's in the sample. So these would be the liquid samples.
That's like 46 micron filter, right? So
Okay.
Yes.
Larger will be captured out.
Yes, it is. Yes. And over here are how we do total solids. We'll measure out an amount and then bake it in an oven overnight at 103 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
And then the next night we burn it. Next day we burn it in the furnace at 550 degrees Celsius. So we're burning off all the organics to find out what's just
Find out like
left
the
in there.
metals and things like that underneath. Okay. All
Yes.
right.
And then we do tests for those metals quarterly. We don't have the equipment to do that in house.
Okay.
So we contract another lab
Can't
to do
check that out.
Yeah.
Which lab do you send that to?
Right now, it's not always the same, but right now it's Eurofins.
Okay.
And sometimes it's budget related and sometimes it's relationship related. It just depends on what people can do and what we need them to do.
Okay. All
So then pH is measured just to find out the acidic versus basic nature of the water. And of course, we always want it to be right around 7, 6.5 to 8.5. We've got a good leeway, but we are testing the water, influent water, middle of the section, primary water, the end where you'll see the outfall with the water.
The effluent. Just
Effluent,
learned
yes.
those words.
Oh, yeah. And then we also take a grab sample. So we've got some that are 24-hour composite. So we've got a whole day, 24 hours worth of water. And then we'll take a composite, grab sample to see what's going on at that very moment. So we do that for pH and also for dissolved oxygen to see the capacity, the oxygen that's in the water.
Okay.
And we do phosphorus and pH. And do we have any phosphorus vials left for me? It's a really, really, really light blue color. I don't even know if you're going to be able to detect that, but the lighter blue.
Oh yeah, I can see a little bit different shade of blue.
Yes, so the really light blue is the least amount of phosphorus.
Okay.
And so if you've got some samples that are a darker blue, it's just the process where it hadn't gotten into the biological treatment yet. And so you're seeing what's coming in raw. But I think we already did that this morning, so we don't have that to show you. And then ammonia is a similar type of kit. It's all the chemistry based on, and then it will develop color. Nice. So do you want it behind it?
We run it through a spectrophotometer.
Yes.
Colorimetric.
Yes. Yes. So I don't know if you could see.
Oh yeah,
that.
we can see the green and the blue.
Okay. So those are indicators. We go by the wavelength, the color wavelength.
Yeah.
To determine how much ammonia is in there.
Okay.
Then you can kind of see some of the samples that get analyzed throughout the day right here.
Very cool.
And then over on this side during the summer months when we talked about ultraviolet disinfection, they also test E. coli in this lab as well.
Okay.
And then over on that side of the room, you've got our biochemical oxygen demand, basically the organic strength in the wastewater. Those are BOD bottles, we call them over there. That gets done over there. But I'm going to let Fermin kind of talk a little bit about.
Oh, for sure.
Your turn.
Awesome.
I mentioned earlier about the bacteria that do the bulk of the work here.
Yeah.
And part of the job in the lab here is actually to check in on what that bacteria is and the indicator organisms that are in our activated sludge. And what
Very cool.
kind
So
of samples
we're going to take a look at some of the bacteria.
Yes, here is the way how I have some few samples here that where these are the samples that we get into the lab. There's just a few here, like Jeremy said, we have a lot over there also. These are basically just is for process control. What we do is this is influence coming in,
Okay.
and then it goes through different clarifiers over there in the outside. And one other thing,
I'm going to step in for just a second. This is that aerobic treatment step we talked
Okay.
about.
Yep.
That brown mass is what you want to see. That's actually the bacteria. You want to see that light brown.
yes, yeah,
And then you'll actually see it settle nice. We actually use that to our advantage in our process. And then this is the aerobic treatment.
Yeah.
This is the anaerobic treatment. So
Okay.
this is in the digesters. And you'll actually, so raw what comes in, aerobic, anaerobic, and then final.
Okay.
But you can kind of see the two different types of bacteria used, what it ultimately comes in, what it ultimately goes out, and here is that other end product. That's our biosolids right there. And that's part of that new project where we're pelletizing.
yes.
But
Yeah.
for me, sorry to jump in, but
No,
I'll
no,
let you
that's
try
great.
to-
Yeah, and that's it. This is the mixed liquid. That's the and we analyze in the microscope, so we see all the microorganisms that actually do the work. They eat all the organics that is in the aeration base. So we have a chart here that we can look at.
Oh, very
So
nice.
yes, in what we're looking at is in the middle part. Those are the healthy microorganisms that we want to see. So that's why we monitor it every time here in the lab, just to make sure that we are see these ones. Otherwise, the one on the top are FESA. If we need to, basically these are recycled all the time. So in the aeration base. So if they're producing so much, we're getting these on the bottom. So it means that we need to remove some of those. So we call rust.
Okay. So the ones on the top are the ones that you want.
Yes.
And the ones on the bottom, not so much.
Not so much.
Okay.
So
I'm going to jump in
yes.
for just a second.
Yes.
So this is kind of, you can look at this as kind of an age of your activated sludge as well, the age of your bacteria. So we use these as indicator organisms. These upper levels are a young sludge age. That's a middle sludge age, and this is a old sludge age. And if you have too much biomass, and that's when you tend to get old, you get poor treatment. Or if you have too young of biomass, you don't have enough bacteria on hand, and you'll have poor treatment. So where we focus is kind of in these two rows right here for our activated sludge, our treatment steps, and what we see here, because we do have to have a little bit of a older sludge for our nitrogen removal or ammonia removal. That requires a little bit of a longer age sludge and a little bit higher level bacteria. But these, I would say this row right here is what we typically see right there. Rotifers, stock ciliates,
yes,
some free swimming ciliates. But that's kind of what we see. So is that okay that I jump in?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, that's a.
No. Also, really curious. Like, what was your background? Like, how did you get into this type of work?
Well, my background is a maintenance, so I went to school to be a maintenance mechanic.
Okay.
So that is how I started here in the plant.
Yeah.
And then I took a lot of these through the DNR, a lot of these exams that helps you to get to the to become a wastewater operator. So the DNR are very strict they have all these classes, exams that we had to take to be able to become a wastewater operator, and then through all these exams that we do at the end, we became an advanced wastewater operator. That is a huge exam that we had to take to be able to. When we passed, we became an advanced wastewater operator.
So you get to learn a lot of the science after you started working here too?
Yes, yeah,
Oh,
and that was very amazing. I really enjoy it. Really enjoy working here and understand all this process, because it's like a completely different world. Like you don't even at school, probably if you go to be a biology, you don't really get all the information that you get until you actually work in the wastewater plant and understand this completely different process we do here. It's very interesting. I really enjoy it a lot.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes. Yeah. And so if you see here in the microscope, it's with one drop of these mixed liquor.
Under the microscope right now is the MLSS?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's just
All right.
one drop, and you can see like
Yeah,
it's
let me
a,
see. Yeah, that's really fascinating. No, that's really,
yes, yeah, and we are able to take a look and check all the microorganisms we can find here.
And you're at a certain level of magnification. If you were to even go higher, you'd actually see even more, a lot smaller
Yes.
bacteria in there. So it's
Yeah.
actually pretty crazy the
Very
different
cool.
levels of magnification, different organisms you'll see.
Yeah.
Mhm.
very cool. We were talking about chemistry earlier. Now we're learning about biology. This is really fascinating.
Yeah, and we have another microscope that's connected to the big screen, the TV that also helps. It's the same thing like here, but it
Yeah.
helps to see a big picture. What
Nice,
all the
nice.
microorganisms that we have. Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's very fascinating. I really enjoy to see this.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Cool.
This is a really satisfying job.
Yeah.
Really measuring, cleaning up the water and having a green environment. That'd be great.
So yeah.
Great.
A lot of math here in this job.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yep.
That is.
Yep.
That is true. Even
A lot
down
of
to
spreadsheets, a lot of math, like right
even
here.
down to
in this
cross
lab.
calculations. Back
Yeah.
to fractions when I was
Yep.
in
Yep.
elementary
Oh,
school.
can
It
you?
is
I teach 8th graders fractions. So can you please say that one more time? So a lot of fractions, you said?
a lot of fractions.
A lot of
cross
fractions.
calculations.
All right, I'll be sharing this clip with them.
Okay, good.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it.
Starting here on the right, we've got big backup generator here that we can run lift stations that don't have any power on. We've got 2 portable pumps in the back there that we can use to bypass any overflowing sewers or use to dewater any tanks here. We've got one of our crane trucks here with a big crane on it. We'll use that to pull pumps at lift stations, any heavy equipment here that we don't want to lift by hand. It's super handy. We use it almost every day, honestly. We've got 2 big front end loaders here. We'll use these to push snow, move biosolids as well. Right now we load semi trucks with these. I don't know, we put, 47,000 pounds on one semi. So it's quite a process. We'll do, I don't know, 80, 90 semis sometimes in a 2-day period. So it's quite a bit. Just more trucks here. This is a new semi that we're going to use to haul our Class A biosolids in the trailers out in the sludge barn right now. We'll go out there and look at that in the tour too. This is the camera van. The collections guys use this to televise and locate any sewers in the city. They can.
There's actual cameras that drive through those 2 items right there. You'll actually see that we call those tractors, but those are cameras that kind of crawl through the sewer system.
Yeah.
And then there's actual mobile office on the front half of this.
Okay.
This
All right.
computer screen, and that's where they'll actually record that camera going through the pipes, and then they'll use NASCO standards, and everyone in this team they're certified in NASCO, so everyone's grading those pipes the exact same way. So knowing if there's cracks, leaks, everyone's grading them the same way. So
Okay.
that's typically what they're doing with that truck right there, televising those sewer pipes.
Okay.
Those lead pipes. That's
yeah.
kind of the water, the clean drinking water going to the homes. But where that comes into play here is the same reason they want to get rid of those lead pipes also impacts us, because those metals are coming out of that pipe.
They gotta go stay in the water.
Not only would humans consume that, they then also discharge that into our wastewater, so we'd have to deal with metals as well. So we ultimately have we have some of the strictest limits in the state, like I said, but we also, in our biosolids is where those metals would end up. We have to make sure we're under certain metal limits for our biosolids. So it's kind of an interesting way, but yes, I believe Sun Prairie Utilities has removed most of the lead pipes here.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Here on the right too, it's another collection vehicle. That is our VACCON jetter. It's got a big high pressure hose on the front of it that the collection crew can use to clean all the pipes in the city. It's also got a big vacuum on top up there that they can use to vacuum out lift stations and any sort of material in the collection system.
Yeah, I've seen this vehicle around town a couple times.
Yeah, it's out all year round because
Yeah.
maintaining and operating the collection system, cleaning, it's a huge part of it. So this building here in front of us is our influent building. It intakes all the wastewater that comes in from the city here. We've got 4 influent pumps down in the basement we can take a quick look at. Those all pump it up top, and then we'll use elevation throughout the rest of our process here. This here is our influent wet well. I don't know if you'll be able to capture it on camera, but if you look down there, you can kind of see all the water.
Oh yeah.
Down there, there's a little bit of grease, a little bit of debris down there that all gets flushed. Looks like some Red Bull cans and stuff like that. So in here, this is our inside here. We've got our PLCs and all our electrical equipment. So we've got 4 big panels here. They all control the influent pumps. If you want to get a look at like their keypad, you can kind of see what kind of hertz and amps they're running at, kind of see how under load it is. Going down over here, just another SCADA control station for guys to do any operation changes or anything like that. And we can go down the stairs and take a quick look at the pumps here. Peek over here. You can see the 4 influent pumps down over there. Just a big basement.
Yeah.
These take the raw wastewater from the city and pump it up to our screen. It's a mechanical frying screen, so any debris larger than 1/4 of an inch it's going to remove. So rags, sticks, cans, anything like that, it's going to get taken out by that.
All right.
Go out here and look at our grit system here. So from the screen, it's going to flow into our grit here. Our grit's going to remove any fine sands, eggshells, coffee grounds of that matter. It's going to remove it and then just dump it in a dumpster because that's the inorganic stuff we're not looking for. It's just going to plug pipes and pumps and stuff like that. After grit, we're going to come down into our primary treatment here. We've got 4 primary clarifiers here. What's happening here is we're just using gravity. So our solids are going to settle down in the bottom. Our liquid's going to go through and down to our further liquid stream processes. And then the fats, oils, and greases is going to get skimmed off the top. So like cooking oils or anything like that, like when you're washing out a pan, that's what we're going to see down floating, the scum, we call it.
Okay.
The solids portion of this that settles out is going to get pumped into our anaerobic digesters down here. And then it'll go through the solids process there. We can take a walk through the digester building here. And then these flights here, all they're doing is just moving really slow. They're just moving the grease and the scum down. Then they're actually coming down and around the bottom of the clarifier here, bringing the solids into a sump here where the pump sits and it pumps it out into the digesters.
Very cool. Great. There we go. Got the construction going over there.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's every day.
Yeah.
It's going fast too. That's the solids handling building Jeremy was talking about. Greenhouse portion hasn't been built yet, and there's another building in back we can check out too.
Nice.
So these 2 big tanks here are our digesters, digester 1 and digester 2. All the solids from our process is getting pumped into these, and it's getting heated, which we can take a look at in there. And then any waste gas here is getting burned on our flare. So,
oh, there's the flare.
Yep.
Oh, I can see the flame going there.
Yep. Nice and not a big flame. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
We're looking to use all that stuff.
Using most of the methane right now.
Yep.
And it sounds like in the future we'll be using almost all of the methane.
Yep.
Yeah.
Project in the background will consume all of that.
So this is our digester building. It's going to be all our solids handling equipment. We've got a couple of our sludge boilers here that we use to heat both digesters. We're looking to keep them between 95 and 100.
And we're also using our naturally produced biogas to heat.
Yes.
That's being burnt in there to heat that sludge.
Okay.
So yeah, we're just using, as Jeremy said, our methane to heat up water. Then it's just a boiler system to run between 95 and 100. We're at 98, almost 99 right now, so we're doing good.
Now it's interesting how out here we're using Fahrenheit, but in the lab we were using Celsius.
Yes, it'll fluctuate throughout the plant, so
Yeah.
it's kind of important to specify what you're talking about. The belt filter press takes all our solids out of the anaerobic digesters. We add a polymer, and then we just basically press it between a couple rollers, and it comes out like this product we're seeing here. It's 15% solid. This then gets put onto a dump truck and taken out to our solid storage building outside.
All right.
We're running this anywhere from like 4 to 5 hours a day. operator watching it at all times. So it's pretty hands-on. We want to make sure that it goes smoothly. We're not having any process interruptions or anything like that. So it's a pretty cool piece of equipment. Definitely vital to what we do here. So we can take a look out at the solid storage building now and walk out there and see all the sludge. Here's the dump truck that we use.
There we go. That's where it's all going.
Yep.
And this is one of those efficiency pieces we're going to address with that new project. And that's also another single point of failure. You know, if that conveyor goes down, that shuts our entire dewatering process down as well. So just eliminating some of these unique single points of failure.
Yeah.
And then, like Logan was pointing out, our dewatering device, that's 20 years old. Has to run every day about 4 hours, and that's our gravity belt thickener. That'll start up in a couple hours here, and that runs for about 16 hours every day. So 20-year-old piece of equipment, and only one of them each. So they have to run every day.
Yeah.
This building back here will be our pelletizing building in the future. Still under construction, but soon to come, hopefully. And then on the left here is our big solids barn. This is where all the solids from the belt filter press get stored until we can find a field to land apply them.
Yeah.
Um,
And it sounds like once we move from like grade B to grade A, you won't have to move it as far. You won't have to truck it as far anymore as well.
Correct. Actually, it's a great point you bring up. Is we're currently hauling about 200, 250 semi-loads annually, and we're driving a distance of about 25 miles away from this city.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty long round trip, 50 miles.
A lot of exhaust, a lot of road wear.
Great point you bring up is we will eliminate our hauling costs. We're typically spending about $125,000 to $150,000 a year on hauling costs. We will eliminate that with this project as well. So great point to bring up.
These 3 trailers are what we're going to use to haul the future the Class A product. That should handle all our production pretty well. We shouldn't have to really store a whole lot, hopefully. But in the back here, you can see all the sludge or the biosolids we've produced here at 15% solid. This is
we just cleaned this up.
From November, first week of November. This is what we
got a
produced.
fresh load over in the corner right there.
Yeah, you can see the steam there.
Yeah.
Yep. So
But this, by springtime, will be all the way out to here, right where we're standing. That's how much it goes up.
Yeah, it's quite a time consumer moving the sludge around, making sure it's not pushing outside of the sludge barn.
So you bring up another great point. Part of this project will eliminate that. What we have to do is actually restack. You'll see in the corner, because this is 15% solids, it kind of slumps down. It settles down. So our guys end up having to restack it constantly to keep enough room. Otherwise, we'd run out of room very quickly. So a lot of that people power, that time will be saved as well with this project as well. Not having to move this around constantly.
We can walk back, or do you want to go through the new building? Yeah, let's go out here and check out the new solids handling building.
Let's take a quick walk. We won't.
Sure.
They're in the very preliminary stages of building this building. These were big precast panels that went up in November and December. They're working on the roof right now, and then on the inside, some of the piping they're working on right now. They're going to keep this one panel off until summertime because they'll be moving in some big pieces of equipment. And then later in January, they're going to drop in 3 huge stainless steel tanks through the roof, so a much larger crane will be here. This is the very beginning of the building of this building. As you can see, there'll be 3 huge stainless steel tanks, and that's where that time temperature process will take place. There'll be some large heat exchangers in that room as well. Part of this project too is any heat we make, we're gonna try to exchange it and grab that heat for further down the road processes. We're at our facility right now to grab that heat and utilize it. And it's really tough. I mean, it's so early right now. They just got this building up. They just got it kind of enclosed. But there's a lot of piping underground here that they're working on, a lot of electrical, which they're doing right now, working on. But this will be two stories. This is the kind of the floor level, and then we'll have second floor up there. Up there is where the lab will be.
Okay.
There'll also be our dewatering devices will be up there. There'll be a couple offices up there as well. And then there is one small basement area, and that's a very small area. That's for our gas handling. But otherwise, this main structure, this is where the bulk of our dewatering will take place. And then as we were outside, that greenhouse they plan on building next summer, or this upcoming summer, I should say. And it'll start to look a little bit more like a building project. But right now it's pretty preliminary.
We'll have to come back next summer and check it all out.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, there's, like I said, there's not a whole lot to see now, but I would say within 2 to 3 months, it'll start looking like a building. Yeah, what we'll do now is we'll just take a quick walk through the kind of the aerobic treatment state train.
I told my 2 kids this would be a lot of fun. Asked if they wanted to come with, but they were skeptical. So
it's actually we tend to have quite a few of the younger children that do come on the tours that really like it. Like a lot of parents will come and bring their kids, and the kids really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's something we just always kind of take for granted. We don't know all the work and all the science and all what goes into it.
Yeah, definitely come back with your kids.
Yeah, we'll do that. Maybe when it's all finished, I'll take them back for that part.
Yeah.
So the next step in the portion is all liquids now. We're going to take a look at our anaerobic selectors here, and then our aeration basins over here. So all the water that's flowing from this part is coming from the primaries. So anything that overflows the weirs in the primaries is coming down here to our selector zones up here we can go take a look at.
All right.
So as you can see, there's kind of like a lighter gray water over in the corner there that we're mixing with our mixed liquor through our mixed liquor recycle pump here. This is basically preparing the bacteria to take up that phosphorus in the aeration basins.
Okay.
So we're just prepping them. This is like when he was talking about a selector for giving our bacteria a step ahead or an advantage against like other filamentous bacteria and stuff like that. This is how we're selecting those bacteria to thrive in our aeration basins. So we've got influent food mixing with bacteria that will be used to uptake phosphorus in our aeration basins.
Nice.
We're also turning that nitrate, and we're releasing that oxygen in our anoxic basins. So it's a great.
So that nitrate turns into nitrogen gas and actually off gases. And that's kind of important in this upfront stage because you don't want any of that bound oxygen to do release of all phosphorus. So basically what we're doing is we're tricking the bacteria in here. We are tricking them in essence to release all their phosphorus because there's no dissolved oxygen and no bound oxygen. They release it all, we give them right detention time, and as soon as we send them over to aeration, they take up all that phosphorus they released and more. So we call it luxury uptake, and that's how we're tricking them, a specific bacteria, to remove phosphorus biologically. And then when we waste that biology out into our anaerobic digester, that's how we're removing that phosphorus. The phosphorus ultimately ends up in our biosolids.
Okay.
Right. That's this is kind of our like Logan was saying, we're basically prepping the bacteria and we're selecting for the right bacteria, but we're also removing nitrogen gas, and then we're tricking them to release all their phosphorus and then uptake it all plus, and more. So that that's kind of
the food they're getting here is going to let them uptake more in our aeration basin.
Cool.
And then you probably notice a lot of the different smells throughout the plant. That is one thing that we just get so used to it. I mean, there's definitely some odors. You'll actually smell fermentation. So we actually ferment some of our sludge, just like you brew beer or you ferment beer. We're actually fermenting some of our sludge to produce volatile fatty acids to also help drive our biological phosphorus removal. So we do some interesting things, and in that process, you will get some unique odors. Like right now, you'll actually smell that aeration basin. You'll smell some ammonia. You'll smell, even some of that.
Not as strong as I was anticipating it to be, though. Is it stronger during summertime?
Nope, this is pretty much year round. Yep, pretty much the same. Where you'll get the strong odors is we didn't even go in those rooms, and that's where Logan was talking about our upfront preliminary treatment, removing any plastics or anything, through our fine screens, or even that grit. or that sand or those eggshells, what we do is that's where you'll smell, that's raw sewage. The gray color, that's typical of raw wastewater. It's mainly 99% water with a little bit of solids, but that little bit of solids has that nitrogen, phosphorus, organic strength, the total solids. That 1% is what we're really treating here. Just pretty crazy. But the smells are usually in that upfront area. We also try to wash and compact both our screenings. If there's anything organic, we'll wash it, and that'll come through for treatment. And then we'll de-water that stuff before it gets sent to a landfill. So our screenings all get sent to a landfill, and then our grit, we also wash and compact and dry it, and that gets sent off to a landfill as well. So we probably send about two 2-yard dumpsters a week, or we about 3.
2 dumpsters a week of screenings. Yeah.
Yep.
Out of flushable wipes. Flushable. Not very flushable. So, yes, please don't. So up here you can see we've got three aeration basins. We blow in oxygen from the bottom. That helps suspend the solids, and then it's also providing that oxygen portion for the bacteria to uptake some of that phosphorus. It's really important we have adequate DOs here, not only for phosphorus removal, but also ammonia. We're removing ammonia here in the aeration basins as well, and that's turning into that nitrate, nitrite, which we remove over in our anoxic selector. So, I mean, all the brown here is just all the bacteria being suspended with the water. So
These basins are about 25, 26 feet deep, and then the floor of these basins are just covered with diffusers. They make fine bubbles, so they're fine bubble diffusers. We also have probes in each pass that checks for oxygen level, and then that is tied into our SCADA system, which then tells our blowers when to ramp up and when to ramp down. So part of our energy efficiency, just like when we walked into the influent building, you saw the big variable frequency drive on our influent pumps. We also look at levels of liquid in that influent lift station area, and then those pumps with the VFD ramp up and down to maintain a level. It's kind of a similar thing here with our dissolved oxygen level. We're maintaining a certain dissolved oxygen level, and there's VFDs on our blowers that ramp the blowers up or ramp them down. And we see a diurnal flow. So typically our lowest flow down here at the treatment plant is about 4 a.m. And then our high flow actually comes probably right around noon to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But you'll see a diurnal pattern of flow. But that also plays into how all these VFD drives are operated. You'll see a diurnal pattern in our oxygen demand as well. So you'll actually see our VFDs ramp way down. So they're running at really minimal speeds in that 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. area. And then at noon, they are starting to ramp up and max out. So we definitely try to be as efficient as possible with our energy usage. But a lot of different analyzers that we're utilizing around the plant to help us monitor and to adjust those variable frequency drives.
So all our flow from our aeration basins is going to get split up into 4 final clarifiers that we see here in front of us. This is, once again, we're just using gravity to separate the solids at the bottom and then the liquids coming over the top and getting sent to our tertiary filters downstream. Here, this is where the water really starts to clear. I mean, because it's getting, uptake in the phosphorus, we're moving our ammonia here. So this is sort of the process where you can kind of start to see some of that water clarity come back in our effluent that goes to our filters here. The solids that settle in the bottom, some are wasted into our anaerobic digesters. And then the other portion is sent back to our selector zones up there to work its way back through the process again.
So basically sending that biomass to go back and do more work. So we're just continually pumping the biosolids, or the biomass, I should say, off the bottom and bringing them back to do more work. And then, as Logan said, just a portion throughout every day is being wasted into our anaerobic digestion system. That's how we kind of keep it. Those are the kind of the process changes we make, is adjusting how much gets wasted out. And that gives us our biomass that we need for treatment. But very, very uniquely, it's kind of a never-ending cycle and system. And like I said earlier, a drop of water comes in and out in 24 hours, but these solids, they're typically staying in the system approximately 12 to 15 days in our aeration basin doing work. And then we send them off to anaerobic digestion, and they're probably in there another 20 days. So the solids, even though the liquids are in and out within 24 hours, the solids stay ultimately a half a year, about 180 days. If you look at 12 days in aeration basin treatment, 20 days in anaerobic digestion, and then we store them in our cake storage facility. But solids stay about 180 days, liquids in and out 24 hours.
Yep. We'll walk through and go see our tertiary filters here, our disc cloth tertiary filters. This is where we're going to be removing that soluble portion of phosphorus, turning it into insoluble form through chemical precipitation, and removing that insoluble form and sending it back to be processed in the digesters. So we're going from about, coming out of our final clarifiers here, 0.3 milligrams a liter of phosphorus to below 0.075, which is our limit determined by the DNR. But getting there, it takes a lot more just because that bacteria just can't remove to that much of that low of a level. So it forces us to use chemicals to get there. A metal salt and a polymer.
Typically what comes into our facility is about 6 to 7 milligrams per liter of phosphorus. We get it all the way down to 0.3, 0.2 biologically, which is a tremendous removal. And then we go from that 0.3, 0.2 all the way down to 0.05 to 0.07 typically. So quite a step down. Yeah. We have some of the strictest permit effluent limits, and it's because we discharge the Koshkonong Creek, and we're a pretty major supply to the Koshkonong. The Koshkonong Creek just starts upstream of us, so we are a pretty big source of that water. 4 million gallons a day coming from basically right where it starts. And with that being said, with this watershed, your permits are based on your watershed, and us being the source of all that water, it has to be very clean. Yep.
So here to the left are giant screws. They're taking the final the effluent from the secondary clarifiers here, and they're bringing it up, and then we'll feed the rest by gravity.
So Archimedes principle, that's what's being used right here.
Yeah, so all the water from secondary clarifiers is coming up via the screw pumps into this front basin, this front here. You want to see, you can kind of see the water clarity down in here if you look at it. So we're removing quite a bit of those solids that is really, it's that grayish solid that's affecting the water clarity. From here, we're going to add polymer and ferric sulfate out in our mixing tanks out there. Those mixers are going to rotate. They're going to mix the chemical in with the water solution, and then we're going to form an insoluble flock, insoluble phosphorus, turning it from soluble to insoluble. Down here. So down here you can see the solids that we precipitated out of that clear water that was coming in. So this is all polymer, ferric sulfate, and phosphorus combined together. This solid then runs through our cloth media filters. Yeah, he's going to open the cover here, and we can kind of look at them. So water's flowing into the cloth part there. What's happening right now is it's backwashing the solids that are attached to that screen. The backwash solids drop out by drain, and then they flow back to the head of the plant where they go through the primary clarifiers again. The red staining, that's ferric sulfate, that chemical salt we use, so it's quite loud. The filters on these, I believe, are like 5 microns, so we're capturing a significant amount of solids. There's not a lot of, we're capturing 99.9% of the solids through these, so it's really it really helps to meet our limits. I mean, it's without these, we would not be anywhere near where we need to be. After this, I think we can go take a look at the UV time. So these bulbs just produce a UV light that inactivates any waterborne diseases. So like we test for E. coli, that's our indicator organism. So that's what we're basing all our UV treatment on, is to ensure that E. coli limits are below the DNR stated levels. So yeah, unfortunately we can't see them in use today, but they do great work for us. So that's it for this building.
That's our clean water right there.
Yep. From here, it flows underground into the Koshkonong Creek, which is, yeah, I don't know, it's a couple 100 feet down that way. Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know if you came in that way, but you drove over the bridge there, and that's, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, so this is the last step aerator going out, yep. Yep.
That's our finished product right there, and that
Yep.
that makes me feel good every day knowing that clean water is going out.